Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. So today I decided to make a video, well actually my fourth video in my I Have Autism series. So today I thought I'd discuss something that I really love. Dory! Oh my gosh, I know a lot of you who are, a lot of you are probably Finding Nemo friends, and I mean, who doesn't love Dory? Not only do I want to discuss Dory, but I want to discuss her newest movie, Finding Dory. The reason being because from watching the movie, I've watched it twice now in the theaters, and watching it, I just felt like most of the things that Dory went through in the movie, I remember myself going through, and I just was never, I've watched a ton of movies before and I was never able to relate to a character as much as I did to Dory in this movie. So I'm just gonna discuss, I'm gonna discuss my autism and some of the similarities I saw in Finding Dory. So obviously if you guys have seen Finding Nemo or Finding Dory, you know that Dory has something special about her. She has short-term memory loss, or as Baby Dory would put it, she has short-term remembery loss. I love Baby Dory. But she has this short-term memory loss, just like I have autism. And you see in Finding Dory that Dory is kind of struggling with her short-term memory loss. She has a hard time, obviously she has a hard time remembering things, and you know, it could be upsetting for her because like you see in Finding Dory, she wants to remember her parents, but her short-term memory loss is kind of preventing her from that. And just like me years ago, I've always had autism, and you know, I struggled with it a few years ago, you know, like Dory struggled with her short-term memory loss. But Dory, well, the thing when you have autism is that you're kind of alone a lot of the time. It's very hard for somebody with autism to make friends. And what we saw in Finding Dory is that for a lot of the years that Dory was lost trying to find her family, she was alone for a good portion of her life until she met Nemo and Marlin. And when she met them, it's quite interesting because Nemo, well, she met Marlin first, but you see in the movie you can see when she's talking with Nemo and Marlin, Nemo seems, you know, very accepting of Dory. The way he talks to her, it just seems like that he likes her for all of her quirks and everything. But Marlin, sometimes he doesn't think before he says something, and he can be a little bit, he loves Dory, but he could just be a little bit, he could be standoffish because I don't think he's ever met anybody with short-term memory loss before, and sometimes I think Dory can, because he's never met anybody with short-term memory loss before, Marla doesn't necessarily know how to talk to somebody with short-term memory loss or communicate with them. And that's what I notice with my autism. Sometimes people, when you meet them, sometimes people they could be ignorant because they don't know. They just automatically, you know, assume that you have autism, that you're incapable of doing certain things. But then you have other people like Nemo who just like you for you. And I think why Nemo can relate to Dory is because he also has something special about him. He has his lucky fin. So I think Nemo kind of understands Dory and kind of struggles she's going through, even though they have different things that are special about them. But you see in Finding Dory that Dory was struggling to find her parents, and that meant so much to her. Like, she had this goal in her mind to find her parents, and she kind of had to do it on her own because she got separated from Nemo and Marlin. And she actually met somebody new, Hank, and he was interesting because he did help Dory, but I also saw that he was kind of like how Marlin is, because Marlin said something that wasn't so nice to Dory. He said that, why don't you go over there and forget, because that's what you're good at. I just thought that was so cruel. And then Hank said something similar to what Marlin said. He said something along the lines of, your short-term memory loss, that's probably how you lost your parents. And I just thought it was insensitive, and right away Hank apologized for it because he knew that what he said was wrong. And I think that's how some people can be sometimes. Like, they don't think before they talk, and they don't realize exactly what they say can be harmful. Like, they don't really say it to be mean to you, but like for example, one of the words that people use for people that have disabilities to downgrade them is the R word, and I personally think it's very offensive. But some people say that word, and sometimes people can be cruel, but most of the time people just say it without the intention of being mean. Like, they don't realize that hurt you. And I think the difference between her interaction with Marlin and her interaction with Hank is that, Marlin didn't really get the chance to apologize, and he didn't realize what he said was wrong off the bat. But with Hank, he realized that what he said was wrong, and Dory kind of thought that was normal interaction with Marlin, because as you've seen throughout the movie, whenever Dory tried to ask for help, people weren't really open to helping her. And that's sometimes what we go through with autism, is that I've met very helpful people, but sometimes people aren't as open to help you. But what was quite interesting, another difference between her interaction with Marlin and Hank, is that Dory when Marlin said that to Dory kind of took that as like it was normal interaction. But Dory actually got some courage when Hank said that to her, and she actually stood up for herself. And right then and there, you can see that Dory has already grown as a person. And I feel like that's kind of the same case with me. Like, I used to just let people walk all over me and say what they wanted to me. Now, I've gotten stronger, and I've gotten more courage, like Dory did. I've gotten more courage to stand up for myself if I don't like what someone says to me, or if they're offensive and it hurts my feelings, I'm now able to tell them, I know you weren't trying to be mean, but you really hurt my feelings. And that's a lot for anybody to say, even whether you have autism or not. But what I found also interesting in Finding Dory is her parents. Like, you saw that Dory wanted to play with the other kids, but she was struggling a lot with her short-term memory loss, and her parents were very helpful trying to help Dory cope with her short-term memory loss. Like, she wanted to go out there and play with the kids, but Dory, like, could easily get lost because she gets distracted easily. So her parents really spent a lot of time trying to help her. Um, like, you see right off in the movie, when she plays with the other kids, her parents told her to say, "Hi, I'm Dory and I have short-term memory loss," so they know right up front that's what Dory has. And they also taught her hide and seek, um, how basically, games like how other kids play. But they also taught her, for if she ever gets lost, um, how to find her way home with the shells. That was a very significant thing in the movie. They lined the shells up, so if Dory ever got lost, the shells would lead her home. And she actually, when she was in the Marine Institute, because that's where she grew up, she was able to find her way home by herself. So that really showed that even though that Dory had short-term memory loss, that she was more than capable to find her way home. And they saw that she was able to go and play with the other kids. She just needed some extra time and extra attention to be taught the skills she needed to interact with other people. And I think that's how I was. Like, my mom, when I was younger, spent a lot of time with me, teaching me how to, well, give me the skills how to interact with others, and teaching me games that other kids would play. And really, not only just when I was a kid, but gave me the skills that I needed to become the success I am today. But what I think was one of the more heartbreaking scenes in the movie, and it really actually made me cry, is when Dory woke up in the middle of the night because her mom was crying. And her mom was crying because she's worried about Dory, how she's going to be able to function on her own. And Dory is upset. Like, she doesn't want her mom to cry. She goes to get a purple shell because, as we learn, her mom likes purple shells. And I believe this, like, current, when Dory went to get the purple shell, this current took her through the pipe system and Dory was lost, and that was the reason why Dory lost her parents. And I really couldn't help but cry because I always try to make my mom happy. I try to do everything I can to, put a smile on her face. And the fact that that's how Dory lost her mom and dad, I'm like, oh, it was very hard to watch. I've watched the movie twice and I cried both times. But what I will say is that Dory never gave up. And I think that's what one of the morals of Finding Dory is to never give up, because Dory spent many years trying to find her parents, and even though it took many years and there was some bumps in the road, she never gave up. And vice versa. We found out that even though Dory was lost, her parents never gave up on her, and they actually were collecting shells for years because they knew Dory must have went through the pipe system. So they they lined up shells every day since Dory was gone to help her find her way home. So they never gave up looking for their daughter. So I think that was very significant in the movie. And it was also very heartbreaking when Dory thought that her parents died, but when she was separated from Marlin and Nemo again by accident, she's alone in the ocean again, and she really could have given up, but she remembered something her dad told her about, there's always another way, think of another way. And she did that. She was trying to remember things in her head to help her remember, and she saw all the shells, and that's when she met her parents again. And it was just such a touching moment because both parties never gave up on each other. They always believed that one day they would find each other again and they would be a family again. And it was very significant because Dory did that all by herself. I mean, you know, she had some help along the way, but basically Dory did that all by herself. And even when she went to rescue Nemo and Marlin and even Hank, when she went to rescue her friends, there was a chance that she'd get lost again from her parents, and she said, I'll always be able to find you even if I do get lost again because I can't remember. And she was able to rescue her friends, and she realized that her friends are her family. And I feel like you can see throughout the movie that Dory grew as a fish. I would say as a person, but she's a fish. So because it's important to remember that she still does have short-term memory loss, but she's gotten better at it, and she's got, well, for short-term memory loss, she still has it, but she's able to live with it now. Like well, like with my autism, like I struggled with it like Dory struggled with her short-term memory loss. But we both grew, and now, you know, she still has short-term memory loss and I still have autism, but we're better able to adapt. Like we can live, like she can live with her short-term memory loss and I can live with my autism because we both have the skills to succeed in life. And that's because we had help along the way, and we both had people who always believed in us and didn't give up on us. And what Dory also learned in the movie is that, you know, even though she lost her family, she kind of had family all along in Nemo and Marlin. And I think, because they've been they've supported her, and they're kind of like a support network for her. They're her friends. And I feel like when you're special like Dory or me, and you have those friends or those people who support you, you really treasure that, and you really cherish that friendship you have with them. And sometimes that they really do feel like family, and I feel like that's how it is with me. I have one friend who's well, kind of similar, you know, to how Dory was friends with Nemo and Marlin, and I cherish that, and I feel like, you know, she's family. And it was just very inspiring because Dory had this goal in mind, and, you know, she did it. I mean, that's just such an overwhelming feeling that when you have this goal in mind and you set out to do it, and you're able to accomplish it, it's just such an amazing feeling. And, you know, sometimes things in life don't come easy, but I feel like that if stuff was just handed to you, that you wouldn't appreciate it as much. And I feel like, you know, with everything Dory went through, and that everything that I've went through with my autism, that we're better people, and we can inspire others. I mean, I hope Dory can inspire other people, whether you have a disability or not. But I really enjoyed Finding Dory. I saw there's so much of what I went through, what Dory went through. It's a really amazing movie. I definitely would recommend it if you guys have not seen it yet. I really also loved her parents. I loved how she had, well, she had her friends, but I love how she had her parents, and they gave her the skills she needed to help her through those tough times when she was lost. And that's how I feel like with my mom. My mom has always been there for me, and she's never given up on me, and I owe a lot of my success to her because of what all she's taught me. So I hope, well, I definitely think you guys can learn a lot from Finding Dory. Again, if you guys haven't seen it yet, definitely go to the theaters and see Finding Dory. And if you if it's out of the theaters near you, definitely get it on DVD when it comes out. It's truly an amazing movie. Pixar really outdid themselves with Finding Dory. So I guess to end this video, I feel like the moral of Finding Dory is to never give up on the people you love, and to never stop believing in others, even though when it gets tough sometimes, and that you have family, but your friends can be your family too. And I feel like what I learned from Dory is to, well, based what I said there, but what I learned from Dory is that there's always another way. Like when something comes up and you can't figure something out, or it's a bad day, there's always another way. Think of another way out of it. Think of another way to make the situation better. Like, how can I make myself a better person? How can I make this a better outcome? And I think the most important thing we can all learn is that whenever the going gets tough, whether you're having a bad day, sad day, or just a bad time, to just keep swimming. So I hope you guys enjoyed my I Have Autism Finding Dory video. I hope you guys can check out Finding Dory. Like, subscribe, and remember, stay regal and just keep swimming.